Welcome. Welcome to Bye Bye Loneliness, and spend some time together in our little community and feel a little less lonely. Do some chatting and collaging. I'm Jean, and this is video number 16. And in video 15, we ended up with me taking a small card, a 5x7, and putting some images of leaves on it. In fact, let me show you what I ended up with, because I was just messing around with some images, and this was my final. Okay. And then what I did was, because I really like those leaves, I took a picture of the leaves so I can use this on another collage, right? And then between video 15 and this one, number 16, like I say, I finished and I did the final, but this was one of the ones I tried before coming to my final decision. So I made a whole bunch of backgrounds of the leaves, and I really like this one with the dog too. And I could actually use those and cut and paste them onto the front of a card and have that kind of collage. Oh, here's another one. Because I thought, I'm just coming in between each video, working on what we started on, and just like being, ta-da, here's the final, and not showing you the steps that I took. And I guess I could have cut out all these images and we could have gone over them on the, the copy of the leaves. But anyway, whatever that helps. I didn't sleep very well last night at all, and I wasn't going to do this, but I thought I want to do it, and it's like almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I usually do these around 11 in the morning, so who knows what's going to happen. But I thought I'd read this little poem. It's called Yellow Tulips. Good poem for spring. We don't have tulips coming up yet here, but we had daffodils and these little purple things that come up. I'm not sure what they are. I watch a patch of yellow tulips capture the sun from 93 million miles away. A chorus at crescendo, swaying, beaming, yellow splashes on my face, inviting as soft sand, velvet petals, yellow chocolate melt between my toes. Reminds me of being at the beach. I did that one a long time ago. I was sitting on the front porch of our previous house, and it was around this time of year, maybe April, and there were these tulips coming up. And I sat there and I thought, can I write a poem? And I sat and I just looked at the tulips, and it came to me, just like that. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today, I thought of the various things I could talk about, and I wondered, and I want to get a little more personal, not too much information. And I thought about, what was the one thing in my life that was a huge turn in the road that maybe I should not have done? And sometimes I think it's moving. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. In Maryland, I lived in the county. I was working. I'd been at this company for 7 years. Went to school at night or went to the gym after work, had friends. I had a really nice routine going. I started having some ideas of what I might like to do further along in my work life. But I met somebody, and he was moving to Colorado, and then he said he loved me, and he asked if I wanted to come, and I did. And I know it's no good in life to look back, but that was huge for me. That was huger than anything I could think of. It's one thing to have come out here with him when he drove out. I drove out with him in his Chevy van, his blue Chevy van. He was an engineer and musician. And then see Colorado and meet some of his friends that were out here. And it was amazing. I mean, Colorado was beautiful. And we went up in the mountains and up to Estes Park and took little hikes and drives. And it was just beautiful. So I thought, why not move out here? There was nothing, like I wasn't married and I didn't have those kind of ties holding me back. But what I think happened that makes me think there may be a parallel life going on right now, if you believe in that kind of woo-woo thing. Sometimes I think about that. There's a parallel life being lived by me who did not come out to Colorado. And even though I love it here and it feels like home, I had a hard time because I'm not a very outgoing person. I need to have like a job or a project to work on, and that's how I get to know people. And I had all my friends. I had friends from high school I still had back in Maryland. So it was really hard when I came out here in that regard. It was like night and day, and we moved to the mountains. We wanted to do the whole romantic thing and rented a house in the mountains, had propane for heat, a propane tank for heat, a wood burning stove, a deck, and across the street was the river. And I used to think of myself as wanting to be a writer a little bit or do other things in the arts. So I had this old electric typewriter, a Selectric electric typewriter. And I put it on the table right by the window, and I'm in the mountains, and my boyfriend had gone into town, to work, and I'm writing letters to my mom, and I'm taking hikes, and I'm taking walks along the road, and then I'm writing the letters to my mom and to a friend of mine. And then I went down to the Boulder Library, and I got a book out called How to Paint, like How to Paint 101. They didn't have the How to Paint for Dummies books back then. This was in 1985. And then I went to the Art Mart and I asked them what I needed, and I brought home acrylic paints and brushes and a board to paint on and this kind of thing. And I had a picture of the rental house, the rental mountain house. And I had a photograph of that. So I used that photograph and I painted the house. So I was feeling very artsy and outdoorsy and all this kind of thing. And I even had did I buy a bike? I'm not sure I had a bike yet. But, I was getting bored up there in the mountains all by myself. So I ended up finding a job at the library at one of the small branches, a part-time job. But it was just hard, it was just hard to go from a life where you had your family and you went to all the holidays with them. And even though I didn't socialize outside of holidays with my family, I was very close to my nieces and nephews, and I just had the whole deal of a life going there. And then I came here. So maybe some of you have done that. You think back, should I have done that big thing? Should I have made that big change? But you did make it, and I am who I am now. And I had a lot of adventures and fun things that I did in Colorado, even though me and the boyfriend did not end up together. He ended up marrying his childhood sweetheart, and that makes a lot of sense that he did that. So today, that was my chat, I think it was a question I brought up with my husband. Just sometimes we try and think of questions just to get some conversation going. And that's what I said. I said, if there was anything I ever wondered about in my life that I should or shouldn't have done, that was it. That was a big one. I hope you're all okay today. So I also put those leaves on cardstock, if I ever want to use them, for another card. I can do that. And then I was looking at a magazine that came with the newspaper, and I saw this image and I was like, holy moly, I want to do something with this image. Isn't that beautiful? And I had also taken out something you may have seen before on one of my other videos, because I made a copy of this background because I really liked it. And it's a fun background to make a collage with. So I cut out some images to work with for today for our collage, and we're at 10 minutes. And this, you know, cut out this. I don't know how this might work or not today. And I had also found some other images like this. I love like window images because I can always put something else in that window. Something like that. And of course I have leftover images. I made some copies of the Easter cards. So if I still going to get something out before Easter, I have some Easter images I can still use for card. Look at that with the windows. Love it, love it, love it. I don't know if I should use that as a background. It's kind of dark. Here's another one. Maybe not as dark. I'll think about that. So I'm going to tip down the camera, and if you've been here before, you know how that goes. Kind of wonky, but I'm going to try and do it less wonky. Tighten it up. That's pretty good. Usually takes me like 5 tries. Got this here. Maybe you guys can see this better if it's right here. Yep, yep. All right. So, cut out these feet. Get the feet there. I cut out these people having a drink, and I thought maybe they could be sitting there and I could have their heads behind this area if I cut that. There's a drink. There's a bunny. And this guy, I had him over here. I thought he was kind of cute. Cat. I always love to have a cat in there. Oh, love a hot air balloon and something like this. Cookies. Didn't cut out all the things already. Was just looking, and that's how you can do it too. You don't have to cut everything out right away. I love these colorful flowers. So what is, oh, the Liberty Bell. This was in a magazine, and I thought maybe that could go right in the middle there. But what about those people that I wanted in it? I wanted the people in it. So this is how it gets like trying to make decisions on what to put into the image when you want everything. Maybe they could go in here to the side of the Liberty Bell, and they would be looking like they were sitting on the rock. But I don't want their heads in there because I don't know who these people are. That kind of thing. Or does the Liberty Bell have to be the main attraction? I think it does. So that's how that kind of goes. But what if I cut this out that I really like so much and see if that will work for this at all? I cut my fingernails. I always seem to cut my fingernails the day of or the day before I do a collage with you guys. I'm really so glad you came because, you know, some days are funkier than others. And please write in the comments if what's going on with you, if you've ever made a decision that you've wondered about. Even though, you know, it does no good to think about that. But if you're a writer or like to write, that could give you a way to get into a story, to imagine what if That's how a lot of writers say they start. They sort of get an idea and then they're like, well, what if this or what if that happened? I don't know. I was up last night till 1 o'clock. I went to bed regular time, but I wasn't tired. I don't like when that happens. Nobody likes when that happens. And then I get up and I'm like, oh, I had some graham crackers and I had some popcorn. I was trying to not eat any like real sugary things. And I had some puffed rice kind of cereal and rice cakes, and God, it just all added up. I don't know how many calories it was. I should have just had something like ice cream when you think of all that I had. And then I fell asleep on the couch and I woke up. I looked and it was 1 o'clock and I just dragged myself up to bed. I often wonder if I'm worrying about stuff. The way life is, you know, I'm 68 years old now. And I do worry. I don't have any children. I am married. My husband is 72 and he still works. He has an office down the basement. He has his bicycle, exercycle kind of thing. Nowadays they have like a screen and he does a whole program thing when he's on the bike, and it pretends that like he could be riding in Italy or something. All right, so, oh, I didn't know I was holding that out of the screen. If you get anything out of my videos at all, I think the most important thing is to see that you don't have to be perfect. That if you just cut out some images and get yourself a background, it all seems to come together. Have a little patience with yourself. I like to say, have a little mercy, have lots of kindness, and just do some cutting. Get yourself a pile of images and a background. See if they come together. If not, cut out some more images. Maybe have some junk mail. That's usually where I get my images. Ooh, that's very pretty. All right, you guys, I'm not going to go on too longer. I don't want to call you guys. I'm going to tip the camera back up and I'll work on this on my own, and I'll show you what I came up with in video number 17. Well, let's tip the camera up and say a proper fare thee well. And I also always remind you that I will put in the comments various places that I do send my collages, because what are you going to do with them, right? I mean, if you just make one or two and maybe you have family members or friends you can send them to, but I end up having, I mean, since I started doing the videos, my practice videos in January, and then I finally posted them in the end of February, I like 25 collages. So I usually send them to loveourelders.org, and there's also another one called Cards for Kids in Hospitals, and there's something for the military. And I also put down the brand name of my scissors is G-E-R-I-O-R. And thank you for coming. I'm so glad to see you all. Makes me feel a little less lonely. Got me off the couch. I was just laying there listening to YouTube video interviews this morning because I felt like I'm too tired. So this got me a little bit juiced up, and we can do a little dancing. Say bye-bye to that loneliness. All right, see you next time. Bye.